Hi, I'm Chaz. I'm a potter at the Langley Park Ceramic Studio. I learned how to make ceramic whistles from Yvonne, a longtime potter from the Pottery Studio. I'd like to show you how to make a whistle. First of all, you start by making a ball out of clay, and then use your imagination to create a shape. Here's some examples. Here you can see the body's the hollow ball, and then I'm blowing in his snout. Here's a cat that is blowing through his tail, and there's a slide here that splits the air, similar to blowing on the mouth of a bottle, a glass bottle. And then if you make holes, for example the eyes, you can change the pitch of the sound. See, so there's many different ways, animals, creatures, in the eyes. Here's a raccoon holding his tail, and you blow in that space here, and then that's where the air is split. A penguin. Here's a strange little bird. And an armadillo. Just blowing in his tail, and then I put holes in the side, so. Yeah, ice cream man. There's that hole. This is a very different sort of whistle. It's called a chirping bird whistle. And you have to make a place to fill it with water, so I'll do that. And what the water does is it modulates the sound when you blow into it, so you get a chirping sound. So, time to get started. First, here's some things you'll need before you start. Primary, you remember I said we'll need to make a ball and hollow it out. So this tool is really invaluable with that. See, it has a curved scoop, so you can scoop out the clay from the inside of the ball very easily. And it's small, so you can work very carefully. This here is a similar thing. You know, see how it's round, so you can scoop with that. The other thing that's essential is popsicle sticks to make the part where you blow on the whistle. So, and it helps to have one end of the stick flattened like that. And what I've been using lately is some flat sticks that are used to stir coffee. It makes a little smaller hole and it's a little easier to work with. So I tend to like that. And again, you'll need two of them. Other thing is straws to to make a hole for the eye. Or any holes anywhere. You can change the other things. Here's the other popsicle, other stick. You need two of them. And then other tools that are really helpful to sculpt with are serrated edges, a round tool with points, serrated edges, to kind of cut with, plastic knife and fork. These are real helpful, these little sculpting tools. And other thing that you'll definitely need is a needle tool. Other kind of round tools, pointed edges. And a sponge with a little bit of water. So before you start, it's a good idea to have an idea what you're planning to make. So I keep a notebook and keep some sketches of ideas that you might make it into a whistle at some point. This is an orchid, actually. And then they're all different ideas. It could become some of your characters for a whistle. So, with all this in hand, let's get out the clay. Then I'm going to make this into a ball. Okay, and so here's the next part. You want this to be as round as possible. And then I'm going to take the wire tool and cut it in half. So here we go. Pull it through so it's in two equal halves. And then it's important to, here's where the needle tool comes in. Make a couple marks so you can put it back together again in the same shape, orientation. So I do that. And now I'm going to pull it apart. So we'll be able to put it right back together again to match those marks up later after I hollow it out. So now I'm just going to start taking the clay out of the inside. You can just put it in a pile because you use this again later. Yes. So you'll get a sense. You don't want to make it so thin that it's too weak. See, so it's starting to get to be a hollow shape. All right, that's pretty good. Now we'll do the other side. Okay, now you can see I have two halves, and we're going to join them together to make a hollow ball. Here are the two marks. So first thing I need to do is take the needle tool again and scratch the surface, where we're joining them. Scratch that all the way around. Both sides. All right. And this is a little thin here. I might add just a little piece, just to. And here's where this kind of sculpting tool comes in handy. Smooth that out. So take your sponge and wet this all the way around, both sides. And here's where you can dry your hands off. And then match that up. So we'll stick that together and kind of move it a little bit to join it to one piece. And now, here I hold in my hand, and it's a good idea to go around the whole thing and kind of smooth that joint so it's together. Okay. So you see what we have now? It's a hollow ball. Alright, so we made the hollow ball. And the next part is to make the part to blow, that we want to blow into, make the whistle sound. So you recall this is the insides of the ball that I had scraped out. So we're going to take that, what's left from that, and I'll show you. We're going to roll this out. So now you can. So I have a cylinder here. And you can roll this out. So it's about that thick. It's about 1/8 of an inch. Then you can use these as guides to cut some in to square the edges off here, and then likewise over here. make this a little bit squared off. Now, before you might have a popsicle stick. You see this? So I'll lay it here. We're going to fold that over. Or we could use these smaller swizzle coffee stirrers to do that. So I think what I'll do is use the popsicle stick so you can see. So you mark it about halfway here. And what I'm going to do is cut a little groove just so we can fold it there. Turn it over and you can see. So we get a piece about like this. I'm going to put the popsicle stick in there and press it down. And then score the edges a little bit. Scratch so we can and then using the water a little bit to wet that. And I'm going to fold that over. Here we go. And press that down. So you basically have a piece of clay with a slot in it. So now I'm going to take this and smooth the edges here. Smooth the edge. Slide the stick a little bit to make sure that see, so you have a slot. And now we're ready to attach it to the whistle. So what you want to do is, there's a certain thickness to the sides. I want to position this hole so it pretty much lines up with the inside surface of that. So I'm going to press a little bit here. And then since this is round, I'm going to cut this a little bit so it'll match that angle. See, so we have a bit of an angle. Now I'm going to push this back through. And that's where it's going to attach to the hollow ball. So here we go. I'm going to line that up about like that. Push it right in. And then I'm marking where this will attach. And scratch that. And this surface too. Get a little water. And then slide that right in. And wiggle it so it gets a good seal. And then use these tools here to smooth that attachment all the way around. And here. And then for the part where it's kind of does that, I'm going to add a little bit of clay from what we cut off to fill in that gap. And smooth it out. So we get a good joint all the way around attachment. And the other all the way around. now there's a hole all the way into the hollow ball. Now I'm going to take the stick and hold it like this, and you want to get a sense of where to make this hole to split the air. So you see there's a side of this ball right about here. So I'm going to cut, you want that to be flush on the inside, so I'm going to mark that. And I'm going to actually mark it here as well, where and the popsicle stick gives you a good line to mark that. So now I'm pushing this inside, and it's got to go in past the edge of the ball, so I want to go in about to here, because I'm going to cut right, and there we are, right there. And then taking this stick, I'm just going to cut right into that until I can feel the other stick. And there it is. And then this way, this side is going to be straight down. There's the popsicle stick right there. And then the other cut's got to be a little wedge this way, because when you blow in, you want the air to, part of it to go up and part to go into the hollow ball. So it's got to be at an angle, and that's what I'm doing right now. That piece will just come right out. And then here's why you need a flat that you flatten the end of the popsicle stick. See, this is curved and this is flat. So now I can, when I make this hole here, it gets flat, it gives a nice flat edge. And I'm going to pull this out. And then here you want this to be just exactly straight down along it, and this side as well. And then there's the, and I can check it to make sure that that's clear on the inside. And make the hole open again here. Okay, so now's the time to see if it makes a sound or not. What's really nice about this is the clay's still wet, and yet it'll act like a real whistle. And you want to make sure that it actually makes a whistling noise before you finish, because if you don't do it now, when the clay dries, it won't make a sound afterwards. So here we go. And there's the sound. So we got it just right the first time. I'll just do a little bit of touch up, see if I can make that even sound a little better even. So here's the hole. It splits, and now we're ready to use our imagination. Well, we're ready to sculpt now. We made the hollow ball and attached the whistle and cut the hole so it makes a sound. And now let's see what we can come up with. I decided to kind of make a round face here. I'll just put on top of this. And you probably don't need a coil on it. Okay, so that's the whistle. Hear it. So, this is still wet clay. The thing is, you can tell it sounds right. So, when it's dried out and then fired, which will be a bisque fire, then it'll still work the same that you hear it now. Then after it's bisqued, then you'll be able to put glaze on it and all that sort of thing. So that's one whistle.